They're young, they're talented, and they want to play in Philly. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kick Dingbat here. You know what the Eagles are to many players within the NFL? The Eagles are the team you go to if you want to be good, if you want to revive your career. Isn't it interesting that you get young, talented players who are looking to restart their career, all wanting to come to Philly? Because why? Because they know if they can make it here, they can make it anywhere. And that's the truth. Two guys I'm specifically talking about, Mekhi Becton and Devin White. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, you got to see what the Eagles did here. You got to see. This is great. Zach Berman said this: Eagles have shuffled their front office with some notable promotions and new titles. The one that I want to concentrate on is Dom DeSandro. Big Dom getting in fight with the 49ers. The only guy that showed heart in that game versus the 49ers, by the way. He got promoted to senior advisor to the general manager, chief security officer, game day coaching operations. What the hell does all that mean? That's the question. I have no idea. But I think I get what the Eagles are doing here. The Eagles, they want Dom to be part of the coaching staff so that the NFL can't come and say, your security guard can't be on the field. This will eliminate that possibility, and Dom will then be able to be on the field no matter where because he's part of the coaching staff. It's a simple move. It's an easy move. It's a good move, and I dig it. So, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. You gotta love Dom. He just keeps on making things happen. Now, speaking of making things happen, did you ever sit back and just think about what we have seen this offseason? How many different moves and different things the Eagles have done? It's been really, really crazy. But there are three guys on this team: Mekhi Becton, Devin White, and I'll even throw Isaiah Rodgers in there. These are guys that are talented. These guys have had some success. Well, maybe not Becton, but they've had some success in other places. And these guys are extremely talented. And they have come in so far to OTAs. And they have been turning heads. Did you ever think for a second that what if this team actually gets these guys to play up to their full potential? Could you imagine that? You would give yourself 3 franchise players. All right, you give yourself a franchise linebacker. You give yourself a franchise guard slash tackle, however they want to use Becton. I listened to both their press conferences, and I was so impressed with what they had to say. Devin White specifically talked about the change of scenery, talked about how he approached his last year in Tampa and how he did some things the wrong way. And that, he's learned from it. This is what he said.
Trying to solidify myself. Nothing is being given to nobody out there right now. I feel like we all trying to earn it. We've been doing a lot of mix and matches to see who's good at where. And I feel like I'm just trying to show it everything I can do because I just want to be on the field.
You mentioned that you hope to be here more than 1 year. How much is that on your mind that maybe if things go well, you can get an extension at some point?
I think it's not on my mind at all, and I think that was where I had trouble at last year. Just trying to be their guy last year rather than going out there and continuing to have fun with the game and making plays. Like, I think that's where, being a great football player comes, is when you out there smiling and celebrating and not really focused on the business side. I feel like if you have fun, the business side take care of itself. And that was my first time being in a business situation. And I don't think I handled it well. I handled it more like a lawyer than I should have been just a football player. And now I'm just back to being a football player and smiling every day and just just being a light around the building, just being someone everybody can count on, and that's what I want to hold my hat on this year.
So what we thought about Devin White, that the money and the contract and all that stuff bothered him. It seemingly was admitted by him. And here's the thing. You get a guy, Devin White, that's healthy. Devin White that's ready to go. A Devin White that has learned from the situation. Now, he's coming into Vic Fangio's system, and by all counts, he sounds like he loves what Vic Fangio is doing. And the one thing he said about Vic Fangio is that Vic Fangio will use him and figure out what he's good at and then use him to those abilities. That's what we want from Devin White. But if Devin White gets back to his form that he was in Tampa, you're talking about one of the top linebackers in the NFL on the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't see how Howie Roseman could get rid of him at this point. I don't. Okay, he, to me, has already upgraded the Eagles linebackers. From everything we heard about OTAs, he's making plays. He's making plays in the passing game as a linebacker. I think it's great. He also said this. He said, Devin White said he hopes to be here more than 1 year, also loves playing in this defense, sees a lot of potential. Devin White also said he doesn't feel like he necessarily needed a change of scenery, but feels like a breath of fresh air is here. Last year was a humbling experience for him. It definitely was. But now you get, and this is the genius of Howie Roseman, you get Devin White on a 1-year deal. If he goes out and he plays good, he's going to get big money. If he doesn't, then it's on him. It's all on him. And I think he's getting ready to go out, have a monster year. I think he's going to be ending up being the biggest steal in free agency. And what I like about it is I like that the fact that the Eagles basically gave him a 1-year deal and said, go earn it. What I really believe we'll be like in November, and I believe we're going to all be crying, they got to sign Devin White. They got to sign. First priority of the offseason, sign Devin White. They can't let him go. They can't let him go. I really think that's what we're going to feel with. I think he's going to be stud. I think he's going to be stud. Like, I'm so excited about Devin White. Pause. No diddy. Okay? But I am. I can't wait to see him on the field, man. It's going to be awesome. But I look at him and he goes, he wanted to come to Philly. He wanted to come to Philly, and this is where he revised his career. Okay? Same thing with Mekhi Becton. I mean, look, Mekhi Becton was what? A top pick in the draft. He was supposed to be an absolute stud for the Jets. It didn't work out. He had injury, but he recognized that if he's going to fix his career, if there's one coach that can get him playing at a top level, it's Stoutland. It's Stoutland. If he's going to fix it, you got to come to Philly. You got to come and you got to play with Stoutland, okay? This is what he said about that.
Why did Philly make sense for you to come here?
I got Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata in the same room, so those are two guys I look up to. You know, they're great players. I got Coach Stout. You know, then we got a great team here with Jalen Hurts, Saquon, AJ. Like just seeing all the firepower that we have in this team, like it just made sense.
I mean, it's smart. I totally agree with him. Mekhi Becton said he wanted Jeff Stoutland to be his coach, and he wanted to play with Mailata and Johnson, which is very interesting. Both great tackles. So when he heard the Eagles were interested, he wanted to make it happen. He also talked about loving, and being happy to be in Philly. Becton says he's happy in Philly and would love to be here beyond his 1-year deal. Also, he's more open-minded about playing other spots than earlier in his career. Listen, he is basically, look, he's a smart kid. He is basically coming in saying, I trust Stoutland. I trust him. You want me at guard, I'll play guard. You want me at tackle, I'll play tackle. Just teach me and get me back on track. And everything we're hearing about this kid, he's making it back. Dude, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if he winds up being the right guard this year. And he's an absolute monster. Stoutland makes bad players decent. He makes decent players good. He makes good players Pro Bowlers, and he makes Pro Bowlers Hall of Famers. This is what he does. And Becton knows this, and he recognizes it. I really am impressed with Becton. I'm really impressed with Devin White. If you get, just think about it. I mean, if it just happens, if it just works out, and I know that the reality of all these guys working out is never 100%. It's never good. But for some reason, if these two guys work out, you now have yourself a franchise offensive lineman and a franchise linebacker. They're both young. White is 26. What is Becton? 24 years old, 25 years old? They're young. They're young. And this is turning out to be a genius move. Becton is making an impact. Like, he's not just coming in trying to survive. Like, he is coming in and turning heads. People are talking about him. People are excited about him. The Eagles know, and I believe that they know that they've got a total steal in Becton. They stole him from the rest of the NFL. With Stoutland, and that's the advantage with Stoutland, he can develop these guys. Becton's going to wind up being a franchise lineman here for a long, long time. And people are going to say, how the hell do the Eagles have Becton and Dickerson, Mulata on the same team? How do they? And I don't know if Becton will be guard and then Lane Johnson leaves and he goes over to right tackle, or he just stays a guard, or Steen wins a spot. I don't know. But Becton is making an impact, man. And I have a feeling, I have a big feeling that before it is all said and done, he is going to wind up playing this year. We are going to see Becton. You could tell it's coming. And I think the Eagles hit on both those guys. And then, you know, the last guy is Rodgers. I mean, listen, he might not have been the big name as those two guys. He might not have had, you know, been to the top levels of a Devin White. But he was a consistent, solid starting player, and he was getting better and better each year. What did he run, like a 4.28 at the 40 or something like that? And he was getting better and better, and then he got hit with that suspension. When he got hit with that suspension, people thought he was done. The Colts didn't want to deal with him. And here he comes into camp, and he looks tremendous because he's been working his ass off for a year when he was, you know, suspended. And he came in ready. And who knows? The year may actually help him. It may actually slow up the game. Who knows? You know, any injuries or things like that, having a year off to rest. He might have gained 3-4 years length to his career. But here's another guy that looks like at this point he could end up being the starting cornerback right now for the Eagles, because I don't think James Bradbury's going to be there. I think Bradbury's gone. So he could end up being a starting outside corner. Maybe they move him inside. I don't know. But all three of these guys wanted to come to Philly. I think you're going to see a lot more players want to come to Philly. And I think the chances that all three of these guys pan out is very high. I think it's a lot better than normal. And the reason I say that is just based upon the fact that from what we've heard early on in OTAs, you have to be impressed with these guys. Now, maybe we'll get to camp and Becton will disappear. Rodgers will go back to normal. Maybe. These things are always possible. But right now, the Eagles look like they stole three guys from the NFL. And players, especially talented players, want to come to Philly. They want to be in Philly because this is where you resurrect your career. This is the team that gives you an opportunity. This is the land of freedom. This is why we are the true America's team and not them stinking Dallas Cowboys with their satanic one-rating star on their helmet. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, how we vision, baby. We're all just living in it. What's the next move? What's the next move for the Philadelphia Eagles? Clearly, it's they gotta make a move in the secondary. They're gonna have to try to get rid of James Bradbury.
Oh, dude, what the fuck?
The Cooper! The flying
Oh my
Frenchman!
god! Oh my god!
C'est bon!
C'est bon!
I'm dizzy. We did it. We did it. We transformed the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. We now have a secondary that is going to be good for years to come. Because one, we got Quinyon Mitchell, but we also got the flying Frenchman, Cooper DeJean. That's right. The flying Frenchman, Cooper DeJean. C'est bon. Oh, here's another interception. That's right. Cooper DeJean is about to dominate the NFL. Can't wait to see him out on the field. And if you're like me and you thought this was a great move by the Eagles and you support this pick, then you definitely want to check out this shirt. The Cooper DeJean Flying Frenchman shirt. Look at this thing. You can see him in midair, flying through the air, transforming to an eagle. That's right. Cooper DeJean is here. Link is in the description. Get your shirt now while you can, because Cooper DeJean is about to take the Eagles to another level. Denzel Washington out.